Great morning, you guys. Fired up. Happy Monday. I personally just got back from my fasted cardio. Hope you guys are having an epic start to your week, you guys. I love Triple M, not only for getting to see all your guys' faces and then all the people that get to tune in on the recording. About a week ago, learned at one of our Herbalife trainings that the way you start your morning with your breakfast determines your cravings all day. And I was like, dang, they did a study. People that ate sugar in the morning wanted more sugar during the day. People that ate good, healthy protein in the morning wanted more protein. I was like, that kind of makes sense about how we're wired, because momentum, you know, how you start usually continues on. And I thought about Triple M. I was like, if you start motivated, inspired, and with some positive input, your day follows suit. And if you start with, like, I used to wake up in the morning, put on the radio and listen to Lil Wayne first thing in the morning. It's like, then my day would kind of go wherever Lil Wayne was taking me, which wasn't probably where I wanted to go. So I thought that was awesome to understand how momentum works even inside of our mind, our body, and our life. So fired up for you guys that are on here live. Fired up for you guys that are watching and recording. Fired up because today we're about to hear from somebody that always fires me up. This is a guy that got me into writing down my goals every day. His name is Cardone. Fire guy. If you never read the 10X rule, you got to read it. Be Obsessed or Be Average is his follow-up book to it. But he actually has a whole bunch of others books. I listened to The Closer's Guide, which is another good one. He's like all about sales and being financially independent. That's why I really like him. So he taught me to write my goals down every day so they're always up in here. And if I have my other notebook, I have like a thing, my goals every single day. That started with Cardone. So without further ado, we're going to be hearing his top 10 rules for success. Make sure you got your notebook to write down your top takeaways and your big takeaways from him. We're going to share at the end. If you're at work, you can't share live, no problem. Put it in the chat bar. Throw in the chat bar actually your name and where you're from too, so we can see where everybody's at. And without further ado, let's get into my man, Cardone, top 10 rules for success. Can you guys see the video?
Success, duty, obligation, responsibility. If you approach it any other way, which most people are, most people think, well, I'll be successful if the economy works. I'll be successful if something happens. I'll be successful if I win the lottery ticket. Look, you're not going to be successful if you don't demand it. If you literally don't stake a claim to it and say, this is mine, it's important, you're not going to have it, I promise you. I know. I'm telling you from experience. I spent the first 25 years of my life like a spectator, watching other people get successful and then wondering why I wasn't. Success is your duty. It is your obligation and your responsibility.
Almost 90% of sales managers say they don't have time, you know? And again, it goes back to, look, if you knew it was going to bank you money today, would you make time for it? Yep. So they would make time for it because they make time for the things that make them money. If you have a customer, hopefully, if you have a customer and you're working a deal with that customer and you got a hamburger in front of you, hopefully you're going to push the hamburger aside and work that deal because the priority is to make money. In the same conversation, that sales manager does not believe that sales training converts to ROI or money, so he doesn't make the time for it. When you say you don't have time, the truth is you're saying I'm not making it a priority because I don't think it makes me money.
So look, you want to get your work ethic so high that people actually admire you. I'm going to ask you a question right now. Do people know you because of your unbelievable work ethic? If you can't answer yes to that, man, you're not going to get in that top 10%. You got to get at the top. People have to know you, not because, oh, he's a good salesman. Oh, he's a good this. Oh, he's an artist. Oh, he's a good pianist. Oh, he writes a great, story. No, dude, people need to know you for one major thing first. He works. He produces. The guy's there every day. The guy's pushing and shoving. Because the truth is, no matter how good your ideas are, how good your art is, or how good your skill set is, if you're not working, man, if you're not vibrating at a frequency that people say, my God, how does that guy do all that? If you're not vibrating at that rate, 10x levels, massive action, tremendous work ethic that's just a muscle now, and it's just a discipline in your life, and it's a normal way that other people think is abnormal. Ryan Seacrest, Tom Cruise, Oprah, Steven Spielberg, Donald Trump, still pumping and working as a billionaire. Look, if you're not working at that level, you're not going to make it. Get your work ethic in, man. It's the American way. Work ethic. Check it out.
The biggest struggle, man, was just getting around other people that would say I could do it. I mean, that's the biggest struggle. Just you get around one guy says, yeah, you can do it. And then you talk to him tomorrow and he's like, no, dude, it's freaking, you can't do this shit. You know, there's so few people telling you to do it. You know what there is a lot of? Save your money, protect yourself, conserve, don't spend, don't take risk. Taking risk is the new way to be risk adverse. So the biggest struggle for me was my family, man. The people closest to me was the biggest struggle. Every time I went out to do another deal, everybody told me, you don't need to do that, man. The only person that was encouraging me was my twin brother, because I would see how he was doing it. Dude, he was making his swings. And so every time I'd get around other people, so I'll tell you a little trick I did. On weekends, I would always go see homes I couldn't afford. That has always inspired me. I would go drive neighborhoods. Literally, I've done this my entire life until I finally got to the point where they wouldn't even let me in the neighborhood. There's neighborhoods in Miami, dude, you can't even go see. They won't even let you in the gates. Most of them you can get in if you know some of my tricks. So the point that Shovita's writing on the board right now is you got fuel in your tank. It wants to be accelerated on, and then you got somebody in the back seat saying, hey, be careful. Nobody likes a backseat driver, okay? So they're sitting there, they're putting mental pressure on the brakes when you're trying to accelerate.
The negativity is just negative. And there's no money in it. There's no future in being negative. Where's the solution? You know, I can't do that. We can't do that. That can't happen. This is wrong. That's wrong. Oh my gosh, taxes are too high. Taxes are too... Dude, it's negative. It is negative. It is negative. Look, there's so much abundance of negativity. That by itself tells you why there's no value in it.
You got to make a commitment to service. You got to make a commitment to like, hey, I have a target. I know that when we don't achieve targets here in my office, the first thing I ask, regardless, the internet department, if it's my accounting department on collections, or it's my sales department, I'm going to ask a question. What is the target? No target results in no sales. So if you're in parts, if you're in service, look, have a target. Measure that target hourly. If you really want to get results, measure your target every hour to see what did we get in the last 60 minutes. I promise you, do those two simple things. Don't even learn anything about how to sell anybody anything. Have a target, measure it every hour, and I guarantee your sales will come up. Within any company I own, I have 4 and 5 flows in every company. I don't have one flow. I'm not going to depend on one product. Once I get those 4 streams coming in from one company, okay? For instance, at this company, it's an online project called Cardone University. Then there's speaking gigs. Then there's books. Then there's audios. There's MP3s. Those are flows coming in for one company. At some point, I'm like, okay, let's do a second deal. So I'm going to then have a company that runs parallel, like a skier, right? I don't want the skis crossing over. I want them to be parallel so that anything that maybe I can't do any longer in this company, maybe I'm going to outsource to a partner and build a second company. Then once these two are skiing along and happy, maybe I'm going to go do a third company out here that I have a passion for that has nothing to do with these first two. That is not diversification. That's multiple strong flows. And when I make a bet on this third company, dude, I want to take it. I want to take all the money from these first 2 flows, and I want to say, hey, if it's a good deal, go all in. If you're not sure, don't put any money in it at all, folks. There's so many mistakes salespeople make. I think you need to get down to like the main ones, but you're not selling the solution. I mean, even before that, though, I would say, Corinne, is the biggest mistake. People are not excited. They're not alive. They're not showing interest in the cycle, and they lose interest. I was in Barcelona recently, and I was looking at a watch, and the cycle didn't close. I could have bought the watch. I was qualified to buy the watch. I'm the one that walked myself in the shop on my vacation to look at the watch. I knew exactly the watch I was looking for. And when I left, my wife said, what could he have done to close the sale? I said, well, he could have kept life in the cycle. He could have kept the cycle open. So what I mean by that is, look, if you're not interested, if you don't believe the cycle can be closed, it will not close. So the number one mistake I think salespeople, managers, and the store makes is they assume a close can't be had that day. I go into every cycle every sales cycle, with every prospect, every phone call, no matter how complex the sale is or how simple it is, with the belief that I can sell that product that day, this time, now.
Hey, work to your potential, not your quota. If you want to stay really motivated, if you want to answer the question to why people that have already made it keep pushing, it is because they don't operate on quotas. They operate off potential. They're driven to reach their potential. This is also tied to their ethical obligation. They know what they're capable of. Nobody can tell you what you're capable of. You're the only one that knows. Okay? So work to your potential, not your quota. Quotas are numbers. Who made them up? Some guy says, okay, your quota is blah, blah. Okay? Based on what? How did he come up with that quota? He only picked that quota, that number, because he thinks it's significant or compared to other people maybe in your industry. Look, don't operate on quotas. You want them. Clearly you want them. But you want to be driven to reach your potential, not just some number, some mechanics. Hey, my potential, I know. Nobody else knows it. I know what it is. You know yours. Work to your potential, not just a quota, and I promise you, you will be on fire day and night.
Hey, Grant Cardone, I just want to give you a little encouragement here on Thursday afternoon. This week I have been in Detroit, Buffalo, New York City. I was on my way to Hartford. It got canceled because of some situations. Whoa, I just dropped my bag. Why am I telling you all this, okay? Now, I came to the wrong terminal. Having to walk back to 2. I'm not asking you to feel sorry for me. I'm doing this as an encouragement video. Dude, things don't go right. You got to push harder. You got to spend money that you didn't think you were going to spend. Hang in there. Don't quit. Do not quit. Okay? I know how hard it is. I know it's hard. I know there's moments where everybody thinks, oh my God, what am I doing? Just keep pushing. Your family needs you to do it. Community needs you to do it. God bless America. It definitely needs you to do it. So hang in there. Keep pushing. When you think about quitting, just understand that everybody you compete with is having the very same thought. Last man standing, baby. Man or woman.
Thank you so much for watching. I made this video because Chris Waller asked me to.
Awesome. Great stuff. Love that video. Grant broke it down. You got some shares for us?
Yes,
Roxy didn't come for a share. Hit us with your shares, Rox. We got the different background today because there's no furniture.
I know. Just don't mind my hair.
It looks cute, boo. I like it like that.
All right, so some of my takeaways. I really love the very first one, and he was talking about work ethic. And when people talk about you, let people know you by your work ethic. I thought that was super powerful, especially when you are like your own boss, you're your own business owner, all of that. Like if you're willing to go, and I'm sure most of the people online here have been an employee before. If you're willing to work hard for somebody else, telling you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, all of that, why wouldn't you have unbelievable, sickening work ethic when it comes to building your own business and working for yourself? So I thought that was really key. And then I really loved the last one, well, one of the last ones, and he talked about working to your potential. Don't work off of based on some numbers or set even like your goals too small, because there's so much potential that we have inside of us to reach anything that we want. And if we start to look at people inside of whatever it is that we do, inside of whatever line of work we do, there's always somebody who has gone above and beyond of what we're already at the level that we're playing at. There's always going to be somebody like higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, meaning that there is no lids, there is no ceiling. And so when you go to work like that, and when you know what you're capable of, then you'll unleash this whole different person. But instead of like, well, I only think I could do this or blah, blah, blah. And it just sounds like shitty. But just go to work on your potential.
Nice. Let's get it. Rox keeping it real this morning. For me, my top 3 were number 1, ignore the little man. So he said the biggest thing is you got to get around people that believe you can do it. He would talk about, yeah, man, somebody would tell me I could do it. Then the next day be like, nah, you can't do that. And it was like He said the hardest thing for him was to get around people that would just tell him he could do it. And sometimes it was going to be the hardest thing because it wasn't going to be his family. And sometimes his family and those closest to him were going to tell him not to do it. And, you know, it's not that they don't love you, but it's that they want your safety. But you got to understand, safety and your prosperity usually don't go hand in hand. Safety means not trying. Safety means playing it small. Safety means taking the easy route. Safety means not pushing too hard. That's what safety is, remember? And they want you to be safe, but safe in you being rich, safe in you being free, safe in you being the top in your field, safe in you changing the world don't go hand in hand. So you got to remember that and really just ask yourself, who am I around that talks to the big person in me? That's a big question to ask yourself. Who am I around that when they ask me about what I'm doing, it's like big questions. They're like, yo, when are you getting a house? They're like, yo, when are you getting, you know, when are you buying a business? When are you starting a business? Not, yo, what bar are we going to for happy hour? Those are different kinds of questions, you guys. And the people that are around you are going to shape your perception of the world because your circle creates your reality. You live inside of your relationships. So don't get around people that don't ask big of you. Start to get around people that ask the big questions of you, that speak to the best version of you. And that might have you being around less the people that talk to the less version of you. And it's not forever. Like I got family members that, for example, when I started Herbalife, were like, hell no, don't do Herbalife. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I know health and wellness better than any of y'all. I went to school for it. I'm telling you it's the right thing. And you're telling me unhealthy, smoking cigarettes, doing other stuff about health. And I'm like, you got to understand, though. They just want you to be safe, but they don't see what you see. I knew where I was at, and I could see the benefit. And you just got to kind of listen to yourself sometimes because I called one of my best friends, and I was like, bro, I just need one person to tell me yes because everybody's telling me no. I just need somebody to say yes. And he was like, bro, man, do that. You excited about it. You love health and fitness, dude. I was like, cool, that's all I need. And you just got to find at least one person. Let me give you a tip. Go find somebody that's finding success in their own life because they'll know what success looks like. Don't go to the person that you grew up with in third grade that's got a job they don't like. They're probably not going to know how to get to success. So getting around big people, ignoring the little man, not that you don't love them, just spend your time wisely. Number 2, work to your potential. This is really crucial because for me, I started justifying when I wasn't successful by, well, I'm at least more successful than them. Well, I'm doing a little bit better than them. And then I looked around and I said, Aubrey, is that how you're going to base the rest of your life? Are you going to get to your deathbed and say, you know what? Well, at least I did better than that guy. And it's like, is that how you want to live? And I had to tell myself, I had to answer honestly. I was like, Aubrey, that's not a good way to live for you. I know you're more than that. I know you can do more than that. It's time to stop telling yourself you're better than him or her or that or this, whatever level they're at. What are you capable of? And that's only a question that I could answer when I was alone by myself. I said, Aubrey, what are you capable of? What do you think you were put here to do? And it was a quiet conversation. It was and it's kind of like, you'll know. It's the gut reaction to be like, you know you can do more. You know it's time to take that step. And you'll kind of start to maybe rationalize, well, you know I'm enjoying this, or don't go too fast. It's like, no, take the gut reaction and make a move. And then the last one is don't quit. That was so powerful. And I think we hear it a lot, but you guys, it's confirmation. I'll tell you guys a story. When we started Herbalife, there was this big group that started. They started with us. They started as clients and then became team members. They started this big old run group, went crazy. There was one guy in there that was doing well with them. And there was a time where they kind of went away from Herbalife, only started doing a run. And there was one dude that was kind of doing well in the business. So I was like, hey, we're going to keep doing in the business. We're not going to stop Herbalife. And he ended up going with the run group, stopped Herbalife. And I tell you this story because we're driving in Santa Monica this weekend. And when we pull past this restaurant, Roxy's like, isn't that where that guy's family works? They own that, I think. And he's a server there. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, I bet you he's still there. We're riding by, and I look to the left, and he's walking in the restaurant about to go serve somebody. And I tell you that because I tell people this, and this is for Herbalifers, this is for whatever you're in. never quit because it gets hard. Never, ever, ever quit because it gets hard. Because if you quit because you don't like the products, okay. If you quit because you don't think the marketing plan compensates you well, okay. If you quit because you don't believe in your company's values, this is for Herbalife or not Herbalife. If you quit because you don't believe in the products, quit because of that. But if you quit because it gets hard, you run up into a challenge and it's like, whoa, this is too big, then you're going to take yourself with you. You take the quitter with you to the next challenge. And if you think you're not going to come up against big challenges to get to big things, I'm going to suggest that's a naive way of looking at things. So if you take the quitter with you, the next time it gets tough, guess what? You're going to quit. And I tell you that because we're driving by. When he left, we were in an older Mustang, 2006. It was fly, but it was older. You know, we were having some tough times in our Herbalife business. We're driving by now. We're in a 4 Series BMW. We're both about to go full-time and moving into high-rise. I don't say those things to impress you, but to impress upon you the difference. When I see him, he looked a little, I know they were into drinking, so I think he went back to drinking alcohol. So puffy cheeks are what happens when you drink a lot of alcohol. I could see it in his face, and I wish he would have stayed. And it's not even Herbalife. Maybe it wasn't Herbalife for him, but don't go back to your comfort zone. Because we're driving past and I'm sitting inside of the light. That happens when you don't quit, when it got so tough, when everybody left, when a lot of our clients stopped, when your business and whatever you do is going to have some tough times. And I remember getting so tough, looking up at the sky, being like, should we stay? And now I'm sitting inside of the light. That happens when you don't quit. Grant Cardone now is internationally known because he didn't quit. But you didn't see that moment. He just had to do it. But then I'm also looking at the guy right there who lives a different lifestyle. I know he has a kid. Maybe he has another kid now. And I love the guy. I just saw the difference. I'm like, damn. But I couldn't make the decision for him. And you can never make the decision for anybody but yourself. But I'll tell you this. Write this down on your paper. Quitters live a different life than those who stay no matter what. They live a different life. Because when you quit this, you'll quit that, you'll quit your relationships, you'll quit your job, you'll quit your passion, you'll quit your kids, you'll quit everything. Because how you do anything is how you do everything. The same Aubrey that would have quit is the same Aubrey in my marriage. It's the same Aubrey in my business. It's the same Aubrey in my relationships with my family. It's the same Aubrey in my health. It's all the same Aubrey. It's not, well, I'm just Aubrey right here. You're Aubrey everywhere. You're, Ashley everywhere. You're Alexis everywhere. You're Olga everywhere. It doesn't stop with this thing. And that's the thing people don't get. So never quit. Never quit. You can stop if you don't believe in the product or the mission. That's why you stop. But you keep going if it gets tough. So let's get a couple takeaways. Give me something. I see a bunch in the chat bar. I see Maywood in the building. Let's get it. Texas in the building. Let's get a few takeaways. Give me a thumbs up or a smile if you're excited to share. Everybody's getting the nuggets downloaded in their brain. Who's got something? Let's get it. Olga, what you got for us?
Hi, everyone. My name's Olga Schnur. I'm from Houston, Texas. My biggest takeaway was ignore the little man, because even I can be the little man myself. Sometimes I end up talking myself out of different things that I know is going to help me propel my business forward, because we start moving from a position of fear that we can't handle something. And that's right there is that turning point in your life, in your career, in your business that's going to help you propel, that scary part that you have to just go for it, move forward in that fear. So yeah, that was one of the big things that, because I know he didn't say that you can be the little man, but you hear other people saying you can't do it. But the biggest for me is I hear myself say I can't do it, but I know that I can because I've done it. I've done it before.
Love that. Absolutely. Sometimes, and it's not you, this is crucial to get. It's just that voice in your head. Because remember, I told you your family wants to keep you safe. Your brain is programmed to keep you safe. This is one crucial thing to get. Once I got this, I started understanding a lot about how we are as humans. Write this down on your paper. Your brain will keep you safe, but your brain won't make you happy. Your brain is wired to keep you safe, but your brain is not wired to make you happy. So, for example, if you eat cookies and stay indoors and watch TV all day, you'll be safe. Safer than if you're outside. Safer than if you go out and do things. But will you be happy? You got to understand that your brain is wired from prehistoric times where we didn't have a lot of safety. You know, you got to understand a lot of these new things, indoor light, indoor plumbing, technology, all this stuff, food at every corner, that's all new. There was a time where it didn't even know where your next meal was going to come from. And your brain was like, yo, I got to keep you safe. But if you only stay safe, your brain will not make you happy. Your happiness comes from, okay, I heard that voice, but that's not me. That's just that part of the brain that's trying to keep me safe. Okay, that's not me, though. I don't have to take that advice anymore. Once you separate from the voice, because it will be there, that's when you become your truest you, going where you want to go. So remember, yes, the voice will everybody has that voice. Everybody. If you just think the people that are great or that you consider great don't have that voice, you separate yourself from taking responsibility from separating from the voice. So I want you guys to understand, everybody has that. Everybody has doubts. Everybody has fears. Everybody has those things come up. This is what everybody doesn't do. Everybody doesn't listen. So yes, it will sometimes be you, but that's not really you. That's just a part of your programming, like your old programming. That's like, yo, stay safe, stay in the house, eat cookies, don't eat Herbalife, don't do push-ups, watch novellas. Don't do that. You won't be happy. All right, let's get one more share. Give me a thumbs up or a smile if you're excited to share. Let's get it. Diana, what you got for us?
Hi, everybody. So one for me was work hard. And something that it stuck in my mind is people should know me for my work ethic, meaning working hard all the time, not for whatever my posts on social media or anything like that. It's just about working hard and the same that you were saying, not quitting when things got tough.
Nice. I love it. Yeah, be known as a hard worker. I love that. Not just as a cute worker or a handsome worker. Be known as a hard worker. I love it. All right, you guys, great takeaways today. I'm going to ask you guys, don't leave it with you. Repost and pay a nugget forward. Share the link when it gets uploaded. Share the flyer. Share a picture of Grant Cardone. Share a picture of yourself. Whatever you got to do, pay it forward. Invite people to every Monday morning Triple M. Invite people to watch the recording, because when you teach people, you actually teach yourself even better. So let's get it. I'm going to take everybody off mute. Where you at? Give me some energy. Happy Monday. Be known for your hard work. Let's get it, y'all. Happy Monday.